Hey, good afternoon. My name is Tye Glover, and I'm the creator of Neuro Creative Programming. And I want to thank you for coming back into this episode of Think Different Nation, a Steve Jobs Playbook, where I'm going to be talking about creativity in cannabis, and basically how to use cannabis as a tool for highly effective ideation sessions. Now, if you've never used cannabis before, then this should not be your first time that you're actually trying it. The market and the growth for cannabis is expected to be in the area of like 21% growth between today and 2030. Which is expected to reach from around $46 billion to about $110 billion annually. Now, that's a huge number. But the thing is, most folks don't even know how to use cannabis. So if this is your first time, I want you to use it responsibly. I want you to go and talk to your healthcare professionals and get that guidance. And don't take your leap based on this just podcast post. But for those of you who have used it, roughly the 15% of all people in this country who say they're regular annual cannabis smokers, then this is about taking you away from just the relaxation and the hanging out with friends and the recreational aspects of it. This is designed to teach you how to use it as a tool for, again, highly effective ideation solutions with intention. You see, if you've ever smoked a joint before, or even taken an edible, or laughed with friends, or relaxed on a long day, or even chilled over some music, then you already know what cannabis can do and the places it can take you. But here's what you may not have been shown, especially if you're newer to cannabis. You see, cannabis, it isn't just for fun. It's actually a tool, a mind-enhancing input. And used right, it opens doors, not just moods. And I mean, let's be real. If you're here, then you've already probably have had a taste of that. A moment where your thoughts just deepen, a flash of clarity, and maybe an insight that you didn't expect. But maybe now you haven't been able to get back to that same space on purpose. I mean, maybe it felt like random and like something that happened to you, but not something that you could guide on your own. Well, in this episode, I'm going to change that because I'm going to show you how to start using cannabis to intentionally shape your thoughts and break past internal noise and unlock deeper levels of perception. Because this isn't about getting high. This is about getting into a part of your mind that knows how to solve, how to reflect, and how to design and even reimagine. And it's about directing your mind, not drifting, so you can move closer to where you actually are trying to go to with your thoughts. So now for a lot of people who may have tried cannabis in the past, then oftentimes they know it's not for them and they wouldn't try cannabis again. But maybe they were at a party with some friends or someone just handed them a brownie or gummy and says, try this. And they sheepishly knew what it was as they're asking that question of, what is it? And then they take it and they eat it. But it's 10 times the THC that you actually need, which means after about an hour, you wait, and then it hits. And then you're stuck. I mean, you have to hang in there and just hang out until it eases. And there are things that you can do to bring it down faster, but nonetheless, that's not a good experience that anyone ever wants to be in. It's rough. And it's a shame, too, because cannabis can have a profound effect on your ability to reflect and to ideate. And as a matter of fact, it's like nothing else. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. You see, I want to talk to you about being intentional with its use, if you in fact decide to use cannabis, and therefore entering into a mindset before that first dose, and then staying with that same frame of mind throughout the duration. You see, it's not about brownies or edibles, because I'd prefer you to start that use with this intention with smoked THC, not edibles. You see, ingestible THC or edibles, they take too long to feel and they last too long, and they're hard to dose. Which means if you took too much, then you're stuck for that duration. But when you smoke or you vape, that effect comes faster and you can learn how your mind and your body responds to it. If you've taken too much, you can give it some time and allows it to calm down and come down. But if you haven't taken enough, you can take some more and bring you right back up to where you want to be. You see, cannabis interacts with your CB1 receptors that are in your brain, especially in the regions that control your mood, your memory, your sensory perceptions, and your decision making. And it doesn't override your mind, but it responds to it, which means the key is to direct the experience that you're within. And even anxiety, what some people fear most about the experience of cannabis, is actually your mind accelerating. So that's something that you really want to be able to leverage and harness. Because while the challenge here may be anxiety, if your mind is still running the show, then you have to remember that you still hold the remote. And when you learn to direct your thoughts, and you can shift anxiety into presence, into curiosity, and into insight. You see, everything starts here with 2 foundational principles. And the first one is that mindset shapes the experience, meaning what you think about before you begin becomes the terrain in which you're working with when you're in that experience. So if you're entering casually, then cannabis can respond casually. But if you enter in with direction and purpose, then the substance responds like a mirror, amplifying that intent. And the second thing to remember is that direction must be maintained, because cannabis captures attention very easily. And that's powerful when you're collecting ideas. But when you're trying to synthesize and connect the dots, then those same distractions become noise to that experience. For example, the texture on your collar that you're now giving attention to, it doesn't move your insights forward, so you should be redirecting it back. And this is where many users just drift off course. They start in curiosity, but it never shifts into concentration. But now you may be asking yourself, how do you hold that direction once you've entered into that experience and it's begun? Well, that's where focused ideation comes in. Because focused ideation is how we enter into a cannabis session with intention, with a specific mental objective in mind. Pen in hand, notepad open, or voice recorder ready. And whether you're heading to a shower or just settling down before bed, then you're already defined the questions or that prompt. And you're not just open, but you're prepared for that experience. And the reason for this is that mental setup is a 50% part of the process, and then 50% is about holding the line on those thoughts. Because once cannabis takes effect, then the mind starts pulling in new signals. And focus ideation is your system for staying on course and for directing those insights and those thoughts and energies towards a particular end. In focus ideation, it is meditation with a question. You see, focus ideation, it's like meditation, but it has an assignment. In meditation alone, it asks you to stay present and observe what arises without judgment. Versus focus ideation, it keeps the same calm, but it channels your thoughts towards the chosen question. And therefore, you're not drifting, you're searching. And you might explore, for example, one question at a granular level, like, what's missing from this idea? Or you might even zoom out and thinking, for example, why do I keep circling back on this problem? But in both situations and cases, your mental discipline becomes the framework for creative emergences. In cannabis, it amplifies that process if you've chosen where to point that signal. So in summary, let's bring this all together. You see, if you've already used cannabis, then you've likely had moments of deeper thoughts, of sharper perception, of unexpected clarity. And what this episode offered was a shift from random moments to repeatable access. You see, we reframed cannabis not as a mood, but as a mental tool. And we explored the importance of entering into these sessions with a clear mindset and a defined direction on what you're looking to achieve, as well as a structure of focused ideation, or rather a form of meditation that points your attention towards insight, with that goal not being just to feel something, but rather with the goal to notice something that matters. Because once you know how to direct your thoughts with intention, then cannabis becomes more than just recreational. It becomes cognitive. So in the next episode, we're going to be taking this intentional mindset and going a little bit deeper and a little bit further within that process. Or we're going to be talking about how cannabis breaks down the brain's perceptual default systems, basically your automatic filters, habits, or expectations, and why that's exactly what creativity needs to have happen in order to be able to thrive. And during that one, you're going to learn how your mind normally predicts your reality, and why disruptions are the starting point for all innovations, and how to recognize anomalies that hold seeds to insight. But we'll also shift over to how to think and see differently, because that's where ideas truly begin. So again, I want to thank you for coming into this episode of Think Different Nation, the Steve Jobs Playbook. And my name is Tye Glover, and I bring clarity to the obvious. Cheers.